today we are going to be doing fresh tomato sauce, okay? So it starts with fresh tomatoes. We're gonna get a little paring knife. We're gonna make a little X right there on the flower end of the tomato. That's all we're doing, just like that. All right, set that up, do a couple here.
Edit.
Okay, so now that we have our tomatoes scored, as it were, we're going to take a little slotted streamer. We're going to take a couple of tomatoes and we're going to put them into simmering water, just like that. We'll do it a couple at a time. We're going to simmer them for about 5 minutes each, and then we'll take them out and put them into the ice water. Okay, so we can go ahead and take our first one out now. You see how it's kind of split and the peels are kind of wanting to come off? That's what we're looking for. Take it, and we'll drop it in the ice water. And we're gonna let it sit in the ice water for a few minutes. Then we can pull it out. And when we pull it out, then it will allow us to peel the skin off easier. It sits for a few minutes, and you just kind of barely rub it, and the skin comes right off. We put the skin in the bowl, and then we have this right here. Put this in the bowl too. So the tomatoes are cold, so the tomatoes are going to drop the temperature of the. Okay, so the next step, we have our tomatoes blanched and peeled. We're going to take our tomatoes in our hand. We want to have a strainer here and something to catch all the juice. We want the juice. We want the pulp. We don't want the seeds. So we're going to take it and we're going to squeeze the tomato into the strainer. All right. Now the tomato has a center part, that's the pulp, and then around the pulp in different sections is groups of seeds. And the seeds are kind of moist and kind of slimy. We want to squeeze the tomato until we get pretty much all the seeds out. We're going to keep this pulp. We're going to put that into another little bowl. One more time, we're going to take the tomato. We're going to squeeze. We want to do it kind of low to the pot because it's going to squirt. Tomatoes are like water balloons filled with seeds. They're going to end up squirting. But we want to make sure we get our fingers up in there and get all the seeds out. Give it a little shake, and get the seeds out. We're going to take the pulp. We're going to go there with it. Right? We're going to fill this bowl up. We're going to take these tomatoes. We're going to put it in the food processor, blend it up a few times, or we could use a knife. I prefer a food processor. We'll get a lot more in there. Blend up a few at a time, and then they'll go into another bowl, and we'll do the next step. So I'm going to get to squeezing all of these tomatoes here. We'll get to the next step. All right, so the next step, we have the juice from the squeezed tomatoes. We have the pulp from the squeezed tomatoes, and then we have the seeds in a colander here from the squeezed tomatoes. So we're gonna have our food processor. We're gonna take some of the pulp We'll put in a few tomatoes here at a time. I don't want to overload my food processor. Then I'm going to take my lid, make sure it's on correct. I'm just going to pulse it for like 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. All right. So I want not smooth, but relatively chunky sort of paste here. And I'm going to put it into a nice clean bowl. And I'm going to do that with all of my tomatoes. Okay. We've now processed all of these tomatoes up. We have the food processor tomato pulp. We got the tomato juice. We have the seeds, which we're not going to use over here in the colander. All right. We have some onion and some garlic. This is just for a little bit of flavor, to help flavor the sauce initially, because nobody ever has a tomato sauce that doesn't have a little bit of onion and garlic in it, okay? So we have a pot here with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to take the diced onions and garlic here. This is going to saute up a little bit until we get the onions just about translucent. They don't have to be all the way 100% translucent, but just about translucent. And get that garlic cooked up. Then we'll start adding in our tomato pulp and then our liquid in there too. All right, so at this point, the onions are starting to get translucent. They're not all the way there yet. I don't really want them to burn or anything. I'm just going to kind of stir it around. All right. And then you get some of these here tomatoes. I'm putting these in here a little at a time, so I'm not just pouring this whole big old bowl in there and splashing. I don't really want to splash tomato sauce everywhere. At this point, I'm going to call it sauce. It's got a lot of liquid in it still, but I'll call it sauce. So I'm going to add this to it. Stir around. All the tomatoes go in. So at this point, I'm going to be cooking the tomato pulp down. There's still some water locked up in this pulp, okay? So as this heats up and as the pulp cooks down and softens up some more, it's gonna release more water to it. So this is going to go a little bit looser. And then as it starts evaporating the water out, that's when it's gonna start thickening back up again. All right, so we're gonna cook this down some. All right, now I have all this tomato juice from when we squeeze the tomatoes and drain from the seeds. As this loosens up and then thickens back up, okay, it's gonna continue to cook. I can add more of this liquid in. I want to put all of this liquid in so that I have as much tomato flavor in my tomato sauce as possible, okay? After it does its initial bit of cooking, I can then go in and add, I might get some herbs, maybe some rosemary, maybe a little bit of basil, and put it here as well, and let it continue to cook with that. I don't mind a slightly chunky tomato sauce, but if I was looking for a smooth tomato sauce, after this cooks down, I can put a stick blender in there, an immersion blender, blend the whole thing up until it's smooth, and then pour it through a strainer with some cheesecloth on it, and you just cook down tomato sauce with none of the chunks and none of the onions and stuff in there, but I'm cooking down all that stuff for all the flavor, right? I don't mind it having a little bit of chunk to it, it's not a big deal. Okay, so the chunks that you see in here, as this cooks, over the next several hours, they're gonna soften up, they're gonna disappear, and they're gonna smooth on out. So while it will have a little bit of a consistency to it, it's not gonna be like chunky like a salsa or anything. So it's not really gonna matter too much. But if it does kind of bother me, I can put it into a food processor, blend it up, and then strain it back out if I really wanted to. So this is going to continue to cook for a couple of hours, okay? And then I'll add more of my stock in, my tomato sauce in there, tomato juice in there, and kind of get all that in there and cook it on down. And when the consistency is right, then we'll stop. So whatever consistency you feel is good for a basic tomato sauce consistency, for what you might be using it for, you could then stop it. So people will cook this down until they feel comfortable with it, until they like it, until it has a good taste to it. Frequently people will put it into jars, can it up, and then use it down the road as a tomato sauce base. We can take it, let it cool down, put it in the gallon Ziploc bags and freeze it, quart Ziploc bags, and freeze them, which is probably what we'll end up doing. And it will last for quite some time, and it's a great way to use up a bunch of tomatoes. Okay, so we've added the rest of our tomato juice. We're gonna stir this around. You see it's got a very loose sort of consistency now. We're gonna let this cook down for a number of more hours. And it's gonna get better in flavor, it's gonna get better in the consistency. But we'll let this go for a good bit more. We'll probably go ahead and put it into Ziploc bags or can it up or whatever and put it into the freezer, and it'll last for quite some time. Thanks for chefing it up with me today. Thank you for watching this video, and as always, hit the like button, share on social media, and smash that subscribe button. Thank you.